Once again, it's your friend Sizwe. I want to welcome you to What They Do. 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 Now you know what they do. What they do is a place where we say what's up, what's popping, what's going on. And today we are back from Trinidad, right? And over there we say what is he seeing, but today we back to what they do. I got another special guest in the building, by way of Trinidad with some heritage in Grenada. Yeah, boy, Marcus Braveboy, singer, songwriter, man, everything. He publicist, manager. Yo, Marcus. What they do?
What they do? That Miami, Florida.
Yeah, it's
slang,
a Miami
Florida
slang, right?
Yeah.
Miami slang for what's up? What's popping?
What's popping?
Yeah, man. Yo, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it.
It's an honor.
Man.
As I say, I'm a fan of the podcast, for real.
No, we really appreciate that. We've been trying to grow, and and so when people recognize what it is that we've been able to do, it means a lot to us.
Yeah, and I was telling you quality. I was beginning up on the quality. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So listen, you're in Miami, and as I said in the intro, from Trinidad, but with some Grenadian roots, right? It feels like to me there is a lot of Trinidadians who are Grenadian.
Yeah, I believe, I can't remember the exact, I don't want to quote the wrong time period, but there was a point, maybe let's say in like the 60s, 70s, where a lot of persons from St. Vincent, Grenada, migrated to Trinidad. So my dad's parents, who, my grandfather and my grandmother, they migrated from Grenada to Trinidad. And then so that's where my heritage starts there. Braveboy is actually a normal name in Grenada. Like my whole life, people will be like, yo, Braveboy is your real name?
Yeah, you from Grenada?
Yeah, and I not too complicated to explain to people.
Yeah.
Grenadian, they're like, what?
Yeah.
But yeah, big up to all the Brave Boys in Grenada, yeah. Keith Braveboy, rest in peace. I have an uncle who was a go-kart champion in Grenada. He was the go-kart champion. So big up to the Brave Boys in Grenada.
I've never been to Grenada.
What?
But it seemed, I was in Trinidad, of course,
right.
And it seemed like it was almost a Grenada takeover.
Oh, this
year
carnival.
Yeah.
Backpack was ready.
I have my backpack already.
Yeah. Big up to the Grenadians, I've always been a fan of the Grenadian soca from Talpre.
Yeah.
The jab posting.
Old woman, we take it home.
And I like that unapologetically jab energy. I always like that. I always like the jab beats too. As an artist, I was always attracted to those kind of hardcore jab beats. And I've been to Grenada a few times, and Grenada is its own vibe. It kind of reminds me of Tobago a bit. It's like it have a Tobago energy, but it have obviously it's more touristy compared to Trinidad and Tobago. But big up to the Grenadians.
Bro, what do you think it is about jab in particular that is so attractive to the rest of the Caribbean diaspora, right? Because it is jab, it's authentically jab. What is it that so infectious where people don't want it to stop?
I think jab is almost like the dark side of soca. Like Juve. Juve is the dark side. It feels like the dark side of carnival. So I think it's almost like there's pretty mass and there's pretty soca. But jab is that kind of hardcore, grung energy. And I think that there's an attraction to that. It's kind of like trap. In hip-hop, we could talk hip-hop here in America right now, but there's something about trap music, the dark tones, and jab has similar energy with it, right? So it's almost like, it's yin and yang, right? Like we love the pretty mass and we love that euphoria, but there's also that kind of griminess in everybody. That grung griminess. And I think and jab and Juve and jab is for everybody. There's almost like everybody get the opportunity to get dirty and, you know, it's expression. So I think Jab is like that kind of more hardcore, you shout and you watch any person and you get stink face kind of vibes, right? Versus soca is so the you know, like the pretty soca is more like euphoria,
Polish.
smile, we all together. So I think it's two different energies.
Okay. Yeah. Do you think that, not saying that the music is simple, but it's the simplicity of it, where like it is authentically what it is, and it's not trying to be anything else?
I like that too, and I think that's something I appreciate about, and we were talking about bouyon earlier. I like bouyon. I'm not too familiar with Dennery. I know some of the songs, but I didn't do a deep dive into it. But I think it's exactly that, the simplicity of it. It's just, it reminds, as I say, if I had to compare it to anything else, I would say it's like trap. Like, it's simplicity. That's why people like, the youth like trap music. Or zest, because it's simple, but it's also very edgy. And edgy is probably the word I was looking for. I think.
Rooted kind of in the people, right?
In the people, yeah. Yeah, correct. You know, because the different schools of thought, some people find that soca has gotten too pretty.
Right.
Soca is too
polished,
and it's too, everybody trying to cross over. I mean, I write somewhere and say that because I have a song like that, which is Love on the Road is a very polished song, right? But I appreciate all types of soca. I like it all. Like people be surprised the kind of music. I listen to some hardcore music, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to get to Love on the Road, right?
Right.
But before we get to Love on the Road, you know, I was listening to a bunch of records, and I thought where Love on the Road reached, it was like almost destined, because I think that you had a 2 or 3 year kind of like momentum
of experimenting with
soca, back into the soca
thing.
And it started to sound like what it is today, right? Like I can hear the evolution of your records.
It
was, do you see that? And then I want to dial into the other genres of music that you do.
Yeah, no. So interesting experience with soca is like, I started off singing soca. So whether it's Soca Monarch Youth Fest, I was a 13, 14, 15-year-old, and everything was soca. I think when we were teenagers, is that they wanted to be a song boy or a soca artist. That's the two coolest things in Trinidad. And I remember biggest Treason fan. I was obsessed with Treason. And at 15 years old, I got the opportunity to start working out of Marshall's studio. That was Ed Gordon Studios with Ken Holder, who was Treason's producer at the time. So I started off singing soca, but I was always very different. My first soca song was a Juve hip-hop called The Breathless Show. And then I had a drum and bass soca. So I was always kind of like weird and different in soca. And I think that soca wasn't ready for all that experimentation back then. So I ended up, you know, we influenced by different genres, like hip-hop and dancehall, etc. And then I ended up vibing with EDM.
Yeah.
But I started off singing soca.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people thought I didn't like soca.
Yeah.
And that's not true. It's just that I tried for many different years. I've worked with, you name it, KC, Advocate, everybody. We've tried experimental stuff, but nothing really hit like that. Well, Mevon, I think, Mevon and I came up doing trap and Trapso music, right? So I think of all the producers, he knows me the best, as personally, you know, because we've spent so much time together in studio. But yeah, for me, yes, it definitely was a 3-year sequence of trying different things, realize this work, realize. But I led with passion and love in terms of me coming back into soca. I wasn't like, I trying to win Soca Monarch. I was like, you know what? I kind of miss doing soca. And from doing my international stuff, I realized how to fit into soca. That was interesting. It took me going the furthest away from soca as possible to realize, wait, no, I could do soca. So it's kind of interesting. It was Zumba that made me realize, wait, I've been doing soca, I just didn't realize.
Yeah, right. So I wanted to talk about that Zumba thing, but you talk about being globally minded, right? Is that how you landed Lollapalooza? Is being globally cognitive how you were able to reach some of these platforms like Lollapalooza, like Zumba, and these other spaces?
Bro, I think, everybody had a gift. I think I'm a talented artist, but I think my gift is networking. And I think that my networking stories are crazy. I met Bad Royale. That's familiar with Bad Royale. Who that's why I went on tour to do Lollapalooza. So they came down to Trinidad to work with Bungie Garland on a project. And while they were here, they were partying and having fun and stuff. And then Reese the Beast, drummer from
I don't know.
but you know of it. You know of him, right? So Reese is Morel boy, and we were actually in a rock band together called 5 Miles to Midnight.
Okay.
And I went to a party and
Wait a second.
Yeah.
You were in a rock band.
Yeah.
All right, so let's dive into that. I don't want to cut the story, but
no, listen.
I think that story is
it's important. So,
it's important. Okay, so continue. But we
yeah,
gotta go back.
Because stick a pin in that.
Stick a pin.
Then we go pull the pin
Yeah,
after that, right? No, but everybody know me in Trinidad for being like a socialite or a partier. Back then, right, I was everywhere.
Can I show something about a double stand?
Right, so
Okay,
so this is how good it is. So after I went some party down Shagaramas, and me and one of my best friends, Mikey, we said, let's get some doubles on the avenue. Pull up on the avenue, do a bad park, pull out. And then I just saw Reese with Bad Royale, and Reese introduced me like, yo, this is Marcus. And being the first time, I'm like, yo, I want to go Roscoe's. And it's a club. And I used to promote at the club, so I got all them in free. I got the DJ to bake them up, and it was like, who's this guy?
Hold on.
Yeah, I took care of them because Bungie and Faye were obviously busy during Carnival, doing what they do, right? And I just took them on. I had friends who working, like for a company, and the company sponsored a big carnival truck in Tribe, and I had them on top of the truck. So they were like more like, who is this guy? And they had such a good time, and I was saying, I was telling you earlier, I've taken care of people for years during Carnival. That's just my personality.
Okay.
And at the end of Carnival, they're like, Marcus, just come Miami Music Week because we don't know how to thank you. Like, you've taken care of us like a brother, right?
Next time it's our turn.
Yeah, so next time it's your turn, Carnival. That's something I love to do. I love to really show people a good time in our hometown advantage, right?
Facts.
And these guys told me to come to Miami Music Week. I knew nothing about. The most I knew about EDM was Prodigy from the UK, Prodigy Breed, that song.
Okay.
And Venga Boys or something like that. That's what we know in Trinidad. They have like 4 EDM songs the DJs used to play. I didn't really know anything else, and it changed my life. Like, I came and then I actually ended up going to Ultra that year. My song played in Ultra that year. So I did a song called Galaxy Ranger with Bad Royale. So I networked my way into EDM by a double stand. That's the
Position yourself.
That's the position, and I think I just went with it. I was
doubles.
like, this isn't what I was necessarily passionate about, like, EDM music.
Slight pepper or no?
Slight. There was a slight. No, but that's how it happened organically. And shout out to Kevin, Bruce, Elias, Marwood. Those the guys from Bad Royale. Big up to Reese. If it wasn't for Reese, I wouldn't have connected with them later. And yeah, I've been coming Miami every year around this time since.
Okay.
So that's why I've been coming for Miami Music Week.
Wow.
And a lot of people in Trinidad really know what Miami Music Week is about. But there's Ultra, which is the big EDM festival, which reminds me of Carnival a lot. Like, it reminds me of the big fets, the huge, the biggest of the Soca Brainwash. And then there are these fringe events for Miami Music Week with different genres. It's not all electronic music. There's some stuff with hip-hop, there's stuff with jazz, there's Cuban music. And it's just a big networking environment.
Yeah.
Everybody is out.
And you try to capitalize there.
And yeah, I just kept on coming. I performed in Miami Music Week. The first year I came, I performed at Mad Decent. I think it was Mad Decent event with Bad Royale. I've opened for Steve Aoki already in Club Story. So, and MX Prime, big up. MX Prime and Ultimate Rejects, they were there too.
Mad.
So we've done some cool stuff within, but I've been coming since. So I networked my way into EDM, like that is what happened.
Okay. It's kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
Right? But I'm going to put back the pin.
Right.
In the rock band.
Yes.
All right, so let's talk about the rock band, bro.
So there was this.
Because, Soca, EDM. Now we on to rock, and there's more. So now we on to the rock band. Let's go.
Rock. So there's a rock scene in Trinidad and Tobago, and a lot of people, not everybody knows about it, but 5 Miles to Midnight was one of the products of the rock scene in Trinidad. But what made them stood out is they were mixing rock with soca, rock with pop, they made rock more mainstream. And Chines Laundry took a liking to them as well. And we opened for Evanescence, Stephen Marley.
I think one of
Yeah.
Keshav's brothers,
Yeah.
Shamal,
Yeah.
plays in a rock band.
I believe so. Yeah. So they're different, like, and but I think 5 Miles probably went the most mainstream.
Okay.
Because Marshall performed with them already. Fayan performed with them already. Blacks, Rest in Peace, performed with them already. So they had this thing they were doing where they were mixing soca and rock. And I had a song that was popular because I did hip hop called I'm a Trini, which is a remix to Wiz Khalifa's Black and Yellow. And somehow we got booked in the same gig. I opened for them. And since then, Reese was like, yo, come and do more stuff with us. I ended up just touring with them. So
Mad.
yeah, so we did that for like 2 years.
And that's the tour you did, Lollapalooza?
No, so this is before all that. This is
before
when
that.
I say tour, Trinidad. Like,
Okay, okay,
Trinidad.
okay,
So,
okay.
but we opened for Evanescence and Stephen Marley came to Trinidad, and we opened for them. So that was a big deal for us. And then they would have opened for Maroon 5 and a bunch of other acts. So anybody who Chinese Laundry and brought down, they would, this is when Chinese Laundry was promoting Star 947.
Okay.
That was at the pop station
yeah.
coming here. So yeah, that's a big piece of history. 5 Miles to Midnight stamped their name in Trinidad history.
And you're part of that?
And for sure. I was like the guest vocalist, but I just became part of the team. Like I was rolling with them everywhere. I brought a different swag to the band, And great times.
How does a young man from Trinidad, the Mecca of soca, right, start off singing or rapping?
So it was interesting. At the age of 20, I was invited to be part of a music project, but in a more management role. Because one of my best friends, he still studied music business, and he wanted to find the next Rihanna. This is around the time when Rihanna was popping. And we had a friend that, he saw, he was studying in London, and there was a friend, her name was Anya, and they ended up talking about, I'm an artist, well, I'm studying music business. And the only friend he knew who was in the music industry was me. So we ended up creating a team, and we went to New York and met, it's a crazy story. We met like Beyonce's choreographer, we met like, Trey Songz stylist, so we meeting all these amazing people. And that was sure a guy named Sycamore. They have Chinese everywhere.
Yeah.
So the vice, I don't want to say the wrong thing, but I think he was the vice president of A&R for Atlantic Records. So Trini. And he signed like Travis Scott and YG, and he's responsible for a lot of those people. But back then, I don't feel like hip hop man. Remember Saigon?
No.
There's this guy named Saigon who was on Entourage, and he was like a big deal in New York. So that was the main act that he signed. But anyway, Sycamore was from Trinidad, and his dream was always to sign a Trinidad artist. So all of us went there with his dreams, and we just, just so confident at age 20, 21. And yeah, I just got thrown into the music industry. I would say the real music industry, but in a management. So this was Braveboy wearing suit and shit and tie, and,
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was in law school at the time, right? I studied law, so I was doing my LLB from the University of London. So I would go to New York for these meetings, and then come back and finish my exams in Trinidad. And
All right, so you have a law degree.
I have a law degree from the
Right. So now we are hip hop, we are a rock band.
Yeah, man.
We now reached the law degree.
Yeah.
We touch Zumba.
Yeah.
But-
Yeah.
I want you to square this hole for me.
Right.
Square the hole, right? Rock band, rap artist, lawyer or law degree,
Law degree. Yeah. Law
and
degree.
then find your way in Zumba and making waves in the
Before
square.
I was parang too.
All right. So
And it all ties in. I know viewers, I know I'm sounding like I'm all over the place, but I live my life.
There's a lot to unpack here.
I've lived my life, right?
Yeah.
But where everybody ties in, and all of us are still friends. So Reese was from 5 Miles to Midnight, which is rock. Because of Reese, I met...
I feel like I got to talk to Reese now.
You had to talk to Reese. He is dope as cool. And he was actually elastic,
All right.
Reese introduced me to Kevin from Bad Royale.
Okay.
And that's how I ended up linking with Bad Royale. Right? Melvin used to do parang and hip hop. My hip hop hits in Trinidad are with Melvin.
Yeah.
And I have parang hits too. It's stick the clove in the ham. Right?
Yeah.
Are with Melvin. So it's like a full circle moment, Like all of us come, like me reunited with Melvin is really like reunited with somebody who's like your brother, your cousin growing up with too. All take a little break, everybody go to university and come back and we're like, hey, let me do this. But yeah, all these things are important part of shaping Braveboy. And also just to talk about it, the Trinidad and Tobago music scene is a lot of different genres. It's not just soca. And a lot of the players from the other genres are now in soca bands, soca DJs, promoters, so many different, you know. So there was and Keshav, I must mention our mutual brethren, Keshav, you know, like he's a part of that too, like the underground in Trinidad. Like I've known Keshav for years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you consider yourself an artist, an entertainer, both, entrepreneur? What
Both.
can we categorize you as?
Definitely an artist. I mean, I really enjoy creating, and I write my own music. I create from the heart. So I consider myself an artist. I understand. I think I'm an artist, an entertainer, and entrepreneur. Because there's an entertainer side of me too, where I've hosted events. I've, I understand entertaining different crowds, you know. But I think there's a part of me that's also a true artist. Like when I write, like Love on the Road came from just a genuine place, you know. Like I wanted to write something very artistic, so I consider myself an artist. So I do consider myself all of the above. Yeah. And I know some people say it only be one or the other. Like.
No, I don't think so. I think not that many people. Yeah. I watched Marshall's performance, the free event he did,
right?
And he brought on a youth who won some junior competition singing.
Yeah.
But he was like, "You're not singing today. You're gonna play the drums."
Right? Yeah.
And so this guy, who I guess is a singer, right, a young man, 16 years old, and he went and mashed up the drums.
Yeah.
Right? So yeah, I think you could be a lot of things, right?
You could, yeah. You could.
I think it's clear that you are a lot. Like a parang.
Man, that parang
star.
That parang is so crazy. And each thing had to happen for the next thing to happen because at a point in time, it was just hard to get radio airplay and just be known as a young artist in Trinidad. But we found parang as that way in, you know, and it's almost like, and this is how in Rome, big up, you know, Rome, it's Rome.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
The first parang rhythm we ever did was myself, Rome, Steph Kalu, Young Rod, and this was my one producer. So all of us really came up together, right? It's like an industry of, but each had to happen. We were known for, parang was the first time our song played on the radio so much. And it's because parang they don't really have that much parang, so.
Let's hear it.
Stick the clove in the ham, gal. Stick the clove in the ham. She want me stick the clove in the. Shelly message me on BB. Message me on BB. She say that she not. Tune.
Man. Yeah. Happy talked about a number of things. But he talked about dancehall being more of the culture in Trinidad.
Yeah.
Right? And hearing you talk, not just today, but in other interviews that I looked at, about hip-hop's positioning in Trinidad, right?
Yeah.
Would you say that there is a piece of hip-hop influence in the culture? Is that the right question?
Yeah, no, I think it's a great question. And this is an analogy that some people mightn't like, right? Yeah. But I always felt like, this is my personal experience, as a youth in Trinidad, growing up when I grew up, I was obsessed with soca during Carnival, Marshall, Bungie, Ataclan, you name it, Ghetto Flex, Treason. But then Carnival finished and we didn't have social media. So I couldn't follow Marshall and Bungie and Treason on social media and see them touring. You would hear that they would go, but Mayfair used to come. I don't know if you know about what Mayfair is, right? So Mayfair is like a party for teenagers.
Yep.
So it's that party that we could go to. And the music we would hear right after Carnival would be the lead up to the Mayfair. And that's what the sound system era, DJ era in Trinidad. So it's almost like hip-hop, dancehall in particular, was like the stepfather that was wrong when the father.
These analogies, stepfather, sister,
yeah.
brother, cousin.
For me, I'm not saying that this is it. Because I know that the comments will be going wild on Sizwe podcast, right? But it's just, so for me, it's like anybody from my generations, I feel naturally were influenced by dancehall. So I'd say generations because Hoppy is a bit older than me. right? And then there were generations right below me. I feel like dancehall was just the most influential thing for the rest of the year. So we can't negate that it was super influential on us as creatives as
But
well.
he said it was more of the culture.
I wouldn't say it was more of the culture. I would say it was more influential on young minds.
Okay.
Right? But because cultures are very, because we went into what is culture. So I wouldn't say culture. I would say it was just very influential. And where it influences the culture in a way, because what was created, music is part of what culture is. And Raga Soca was birthed because every youth wanted to be a dancehall artist. So Bunchy, KMC, all of them, like wanted to be dancehall artists. But the environment in Trinidad is where the opportunity is soca music. So now, and this happened before with Kiss Kitty Caravan, General Grant.
Was part of Kiss Kitty.
Yeah, he was the biggest thing. Like, General Grant, from what I hear and saw in footage, he was performing he was the headliner, performing to 10,000 plus
Big
youths.
deal.
So the dancehall definitely is a big part of the influence of a generation or generations. But is it part of our culture? I wouldn't say culture, but I would just say it's very influential on everybody. Everybody.
All right, but so.
And you're talking about hip hop, sorry. So yeah.
Yeah. So we'll touch
Yeah.
that. But because we're on this dancehall thing, right?
Right.
And you say not necessarily part of the culture, right? Now, many people in the comments
Right.
had agreed,
Right.
and many people took issue,
Right.
right? But when we talk about culture, what is culture? What makes up a culture in a particular place, right?
Right.
Maybe, for instance, Trinidad, the maxi taxi system, right? Like here in Miami, I don't think we still have it. We used to have this thing called a jitney, right? Which is similar. And in New York, they had the dollar van.
Right.
There is a culture there,
There's a culture there.
right? And dancehall is part of the maxi culture.
Well, I would say, so and this is where, all right, so I was watching, the legendary clash called 45 Shop Lock.
Yeah,
That
for
was,
sure. Yeah.
And I was around that time as a teenager. I was just too young to go to that. Right, this is the year before I was able to go things like that, and that was the biggest thing. And I watched it the other day. And sound system culture was huge in Trinidad, but it depends on who you talk to. Like if you talk to somebody who's not necessarily from like West East environs,
Someone who was 45 at that time.
or if let's say like you talk to somebody who's East Indian who grew up in Barrackpore, who
Okay.
they just had a totally different. That wasn't their culture.
Okay.
So there's so many cultures that happen. So sound system culture influence Trinidadians, right? It influenced the world.
Yeah, for sure.
But is sound system culture, or was it birthed in Trinidad? No, but there were certain aspects of sound system culture that took sound system culture to a different, place in the world. Like we had a part to play in the evolution of that culture. But I don't know if we can say that it's our culture.
But that it has you took a part in the culture,
Right.
But does it represent some of the culture within the country, right? Does it represent like?
Because it was all right. Because in fairness, the culture is partially the way we walk, the way we talk, the fashion, and yes. So I would say, but that's why I just prefer to use the word influence rather than culture. But if we have to go down to the definition of culture, I think culture is definitely the food, the fashion, the music, the just as you were saying, maxi culture, and just the way all things are on the
Life.
ground. Just the ecosystem of people on the ground and that kind of
A
stuff.
shared set of beliefs, behaviors, costumes, values, language, and artifacts that define a group of society acquired through learning rather than hereditary.
All right, so let's go. We're going to that definition. And I'm bringing that point to
Dancehall is a part
Yeah.
of culture. It's not a part of the beliefs, behaviors, and customs and values of Trinidad.
But of course it is, right?
But Trinidad man, it says with Trinidad man, a lot of dancehall songs they say, I don't know what we can say and not say on the show, but Trinidad dancehall songs say, bad man do suck this or bad man do, right? But then that is not our culture. Trinidadian men are not against that. So I just give that as an example. When we talk. Right, that's not our culture.
Okay.
But everybody will say, but. We not really, you can talk about homophobia. Like, I mean, there are homophobic people in Trinidad, but it's different from the energy that you get from Jamaicans with homophobia, right? So we enjoying it as a entertainment piece for entertainment value, but do people really believe all aspects of dancehall culture? All
I don't know,
so
man.
it goes so deep there.
I think that it's a sticky conversation, and it's
It is,
sticky
it is.
because come Ash Wednesday,
Right,
right? It ain't soca
right,
for the most part. Right?
Right.
Of course, you might find station and people playing it,
right.
and it's gonna be dancehall, and what we started this conversation with
Right.
is hip hop,
Right.
right? And my question to you was, how the mecca of soca, the home, maybe I shouldn't say the mecca because
Right.
comments mecca, right? But the home and comments might give me a
Right.
problem with home too.
Right.
But of soca also has influx of hip hop culture or hip hop music, right? And then
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
was the big guy, one of the big
I
guys
was
in
one of the
hip
big
hop
guys. I mean,
in the country.
the answer is, I would say, BT MTV. We grew up on American cable. Like that same generation I'm talking about, from Hoppy's generation, my generation, etc. We grew up like, as I say, when Carnival was done, for the rest of the years, BT MTV. We grew up watching Rap City. We grew up watching TRL, whatever.
Sure.
Yeah. So I think
The basement.
the basement,
Yeah.
right? Big up Tigger, right? And I think that from what I remember, in every year of school, they always had the hip hop men. They don't have the men. It's like, but there's 20 people who just obsessed with hip hop. So hip hop always had a presence. They always had hip hop nights. They always had, but it's always real underground. But trap music, I think, there was a point in time where hip hop became like pop. And it still kind of exists now, right? Where it's like hip hop artists are so mainstream that people who like pop know hip hop songs. As I remember before, it was like, if you know Wu-Tang, you're a hip hop head. If you know Redman and Method Man, you're a hip hop head. But now everybody know Drake, right? To the extent even Kendrick Lamar's, because of the beef on the last album, a lot of people know Kendrick's songs who would not know who Kendrick was.
Yeah.
So,
But Kendrick's
Yeah.
Kendrick's song
Yeah.
is really saying that you not hip hop.
yeah, which is it's interesting.
ironic,
It's
right?
ironic. It's very interesting.
It's saying that you are not us. You
Yeah.
are not hip hop.
And then the thing is, and I mentioned that because I could talk about my hip hop career in Trinidad. It was under the name Mark Hardy and Young Red, right? So Young Red is the son of David Rudder, right? Legendary David Rudder. And they were hip hop heads in Trinidad saying, we not hip hop. Whether it's I just smile too much. Whether it is my style wasn't the typical hip hop style, my swag wasn't the typical hip hop. Whether it was, and I come from a raga soca background. So I was chanting raga soca and hip hop beats. So they say, you're not really a rap. So everybody like, what is hip hop? But hip hop is expression, right? I've watched a lot of documentaries and did my own research on hip hop for years. Hip hop started off as the expression of the youths in New York, right? In the Bronx and Brooklyn, Queens, etc. It wasn't gangster rap. It was just expression. And there were different pillars of hip hop, right? Which I believe it's breakdancing, graffiti, rapping. I can't remember the other one. So like hip hop is expression. And when you look at hip hop across the world, there's French hip hop, there's UK hip hop, and it's just about expression. How you express yourself in this particular art form is hip hop. You have Indian hip hop. I don't know if y'all have ever seen.
Course, yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
they have some dope Indian artists.
Don't know what they're saying, but
Right. Look at like they have Latin hip hop artists and stuff too, even here in Miami. So to me, it was just about expression. So for Kendrick to say Drake is not like us, who owns hip hop? Hip hop is just about expression. Drake is expressing himself in hip hop in a different way. So it gets tricky. It gets very tricky. But we got that same, we got talks for that too. But then the songs just blew up, and we had like a 4-year run in Trinidad. Like it was crazy. Like we actually went mainstream doing hip hop in Trinidad, and it's because at the time hip hop was mainstream in the world. It kind of changed after that, and dancehall went back. There was a point in time when dancehall, I don't want to say dancehall dipped, but hip hop kind of did this over dancehall with young people. Because in a lot of ways, the young people, the youths, are the pulse of what's cool and what's trending. And
So you said that hip hop, it's something about the young people.
Urban music and urban popular music is very trend centric, right? Goes on trends, right? Like I say like country music or something, right? Country music might evolve, but it's kind of core the same. It might have a Lil Nas X or something who just totally left, but generally country music has kind of stayed the same. Like hip hop genres, like hip hop or I mean dancehall, I guess kind of falls under that as well because it's now trap dancehall. But it's just about trends. Like the cool thing in dancehall now is trap dancehall, right?
But you were saying about what you're saying about hip hop was
Yeah.
It's the movement was is
It's
or
youth.
is a youth.
It's a youth.
movement.
It's a youth, and it started off like that in New York.
But my
yeah.
question now is, but isn't that the basis of many of these genres, right? It's the youth. The Denry segment, I think, if and you could correct me in the comments,
Right.
was a youth movement.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
A movement of people who felt like they might not have been heard, and so they came together and did their thing,
Right.
And said, all right, we're going to do this.
Right.
I think the same for the Zest, right? And Trinidad is like it's the youth.
What about jazz? Jazz is a genre that the youth don't really influence jazz like that. Think about it, like you know, calypso in terms of what it is now where it started from.
But the Renaissance era,
You're right.
right? And jazz kind of came out of that, I think.
Yeah, no, you're right. It came from youth, but I just mean
Was a youthful thing.
Like in
wasn't it?
2026, sorry, it's
Yeah.
like jazz, like who are the cool young jazz artists now? Besides, obviously, like about ATN and stuff, but talking about like people like youths. Who are the cool young youth jazz artists? Jazz is a mature genre. It's become a mature genre, right? But hip hop, in terms of what's popular, it's still very much driven by the youth. So like somebody like NBA Youngboy, like for us, and for me, like I NBA Youngboy I like his grind, but I can't really listen to his music. It's just not for me. But I come from Tupac, Biggie, and then I think the furthest I reached was Migos. And then after I was like, okay, I will. That's how I realized I could appreciate Drake and Kendrick. That I enjoy the beef.
Yeah.
Because that's like, hey, this is this something I can relate to. I know what they say, right?
And the beef is hip hop.
And the beef is hip hop. But to a new generation, your son and your nephews, etc., nieces, hip hop is not what hip hop is for us is not what it is for them. And I think that at the time, going back to Trapso, trap was just the popular music of hip hop in the world. It was the voice of hip hop. And we did something called Trapso, which was mixing trap music and soca. So for the youth, it was the coolest thing because these people who studied away and came back and they're like, wow, trap mixed with soca, that's the coolest thing ever. And to the older people, they liked that we were using, we were being patriotic, and we had songs like Nah Boy and What's This Scene, and we were making it cool to be Trini. Like we were encouraging the young people to speak authentically in the accent. So we got the love from the older generation and respect. So that was a whole movement there. So I think that's why we were able to do it. It's just a lot of stuff aligned for us. You know, a lot of stuff aligned for us. And with our marketing, we would go and highlight like the Pitch Lake. We shoot some music video, the Pitch Lake. You know, like we shoot a video, the Pitch Lake on the Over Tobago glass bottom boat, store bay. We shooting hip hop visuals. So people just really appreciated that. And I think it's kind of like what Trinidad is now. Like the imagery of Trinidad is like more shock value, but it was just fresh. And it's very much driven by the youth.
Yeah.
But it's dancehall, right?
Yeah.
It's just another version of dancehall. Just like the men who come up from like the 90s hip hop, you know, like Trapso is a newer version of hip hop. You know, so it's just things just evolve all the time. And we can take it back to soca. Because you mentioned Dennery and bouyon. To me, that is the youthful energy in soca right now. And some DJs I work with in France. And
Careful, you can't say the boy.
yeah, well, okay. Well, that's a whole next. My apologies.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. So you have to be careful with that bouyon.
That bouyon soca. I see it in the comments.
Bouyon is not soca.
Yeah.
Bouyon is bouyon, and soca is soca.
What is soca?
I think soca is a mixture of East Indian and African rhythms developed by Ras Shorty I.
Right.
There's a specific beat pattern, a drum pattern
Right.
that identifies soca.
But you say all soca have that same drum pattern?
I think if you dig deep,
Right.
yeah, it's there, right?
Kevin Little turned me on.
Kevin Little Turn Me On is categorized as a reggae
Right.
or maybe a dancehall, but I think that most people in the diaspora consider it as soca.
But released in Trinidad, it released in St. Vincent for Carnival, then released in Trinidad for Carnival as a soca.
Yeah, I think,
So-
like I said, I think most Caribbean people would
Yeah.
consider it as soca.
Right, so yeah, so to me, it's like Kevin Little Turn Me On started off, the origins is Carnival and soca. There's road march type soca, there's power soca, there's groovy soca, and there's juve soca. There was raga soca, there's chutney soca, and you know like what H2O Flow was doing, I would say it's kind of like R&B soca growing up, right? There's some soca that sounds like straight dancehall. It just was released during Carnival.
Okay.
There's a song that Swappy has that was I can't remember exactly. It was like one of those songs you'd hear in like a electronic party, and Swappy sang on the same beat. That beat is not soca beat. That beat is like specific. I think Swappy did some on a Fela Kuti beat too as well. So it's just it gets a little complicated in terms of, and this is no knock. I love soca. The comments a little coming on me. I think it's we just talking and we just having a real conversation. I think in order is a product, right? Like at the end of the day, if we want to have the conversation about soca as a product and you know the business and the export, sometimes having so many different categories or subcategories in a product that hasn't fully been, we haven't figured out how to fully export this product internationally.
You think we have to protect this soca thing?
I could answer those questions as a Trini and as a businessman. That's the safest way I could answer, right? As a Trini, I honestly don't think I want soca to change too much. Like the soca, I'm a fan of 90s soca. Like the soca, the raga soca, that raga soca era is what really inspired me. So that's why I kind of protective of that. Is soca I like. You know, that night from Bungie and KMC and Ghetto Flex and to when Marshall was singing Big Truck. That's what I grew up on. So a piece of me miss that era of soca. So I'm protective of that in my head. But that is because of my age and that is because of that I grew up on. But from a business perspective and me navigating in different rooms and in the international market, the things we just talk about in the Caribbean, the conversations we just have about what is this and what is that, when we exporting it, they're just like, hey, this is nice. That's the response, right?
Yeah.
They think that the Caribbean is all one, right?
Yeah.
They think that,
It's all reggae.
People, like I perform in EDM events and they're like, they thought I was the voice from all the major laser songs.
Oh.
They don't identify it as like a Jamaican. Let's not talk about this is just random EDM fans, right? We love and we are very you're protective of the persons you love and the things you love. Protective of your family, you're protective of your friends, right? You're protective of your house, you're protective of your car. So soca is something that we are very protective of as Trinis because we love it. We're passionate about this. But so we might be a bit defensive and sensitive when people say things. So I know there's the soca versus bouyon conversation and denery, etc. I'm not an expert. I can't get into that, right?
Yeah.
But I can tell you what labels say and I can tell you what DJs say who not in our culture.
What are the labels saying?
Who's the market for this song? Or sorry, who's the market for this genre? Who's the market for this? You know, like, okay, this soca thing. All right. How much is selling? What's the streaming numbers? What's the unit sold? That's the conversations they're having. Right? For DJs, I mean, soca has been in dancehall pools, has been in Latin pools. It's good music. It's about what making people dance. They're not going into there's not this, and there's not this. That's a purest conversation, which is there's a time and a place for that. But in terms of exporting soca falls into feel good global party music.
Yeah.
Soca makes people feel good. I went to the Miami Open, I was telling you all, and I heard I like to move it. Which we were talking about Mad Stuntman, big up Mad Stuntman.
Big up Mad Stuntman.
Yeah, Mad Stuntman to meet Denise Belfont, big up Denise Belfont work. I've heard these songs.
You know I love Denise Belfont.
Yeah, no, she cool too. She was my neighbor for a while, you know.
I don't know her. I mean, we've met several times.
Yeah.
But I have Denise Belfont was like, you know, when you're young and you're like a big old man,
Cardi B, she's the Nicki Minaj or Cardi B.
Yo, I just want to be one of them guys who she call on
stage.
Saucy.
Big up, no, Saucy is one of the nicest people you'd ever meet. I say she was my neighbor for a while. Diego Martin, and just generally, I've had some quick conversations on social media about work, and like I would proudly tag her when I go EDM events and hear the song Bungee Girl in Jungle Bay, a song I've heard all over the place, and those are songs with soca elements. But I think the conversations that we have within our communities, because I'm a fan of your podcast, and I watch other Caribbean diaspora oriented podcasts. And a lot of the conversations we have within the soca community, the truth is, the rest of the world doesn't really care about it. But, as I said, the Trini in me agrees and wants to be part of these conversations. Like, let's protect this. Or we could dissect, this is this and this is not this. But the world and, we still have a lot of soca songs still categorized as reggae on the streaming platforms. And then people can say, well, why we don't create our own streaming platform? But, it's business, it's numbers. People don't stream as much in the Caribbean as they do globally. So you asked me the question. I am protective of soca, Trini in me, but the entrepreneur, the businessman, the music industry person going in global directions understands that. And reggae has the same issue too, where it's like a lot of Jamaicans may not like, let's say, Shaggy and Robin Thicke's new song. I like it. I'm a huge Shaggy fan. But some people might be like, that's not dancehall. But Shaggy's on a whole different level of understanding the international market. Him and Sean Paul, where the musical moves they make, they understand the markets that they could enter, Pitbull is the next one.
There's a narrative
right
out there that I have an agenda
against soca.
Bouyon.
Against bouyon, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Which is far from the case.
Right.
I am in the business for 20-something years.
Yeah.
Singing since 1998.
Yeah.
Right? And all I've ever wanted to do was to push culture. Caribbean culture specifically.
Right.
And I think my concern is only that I want this product, what we have, right? The many facets of it to go to be explored and loved by everyone, right? And I don't know if we draw these lines in the sand that this is this and this is that, that they get a good picture of what it is that we have to offer.
It divides us too, because
it divides us.
I think let's look at Afrobeats. Afrobeats is a movement. Afrobeats is not just Nigeria. Afrobeats is Ghana. It's Tanzania. It's many different countries in Africa. Reggaeton is not just Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
Reggaeton is Puerto Rico, is Dominican Republic, Venezuela. Is so many different Cuba.
But back to the Afrobeats thing, right? I would imagine, I don't know if it's true, but I would imagine that the world hears Afrobeats, hears Amapiano, hears Afro House as Afrobeats.
Yeah, I don't think they would be like, I'm a piano from South Africa.
Right.
This type of music, and then they have a High Life is from, I can't remember which, I think it's Ghana or
right.
They don't dissect it like that. They're just like,
that's just dope. That's
Afrobeats.
right. That's African music and Afrobeats.
Exotic African music,
and I get that maybe I'm a piano artist would like to say, no. This is I'm a piano.
And those discussions happen.
Yeah, I think they do. They must happen.
They do happen, but it does not affect the business of the people who take it to the next level. My problem, I would say, with sometimes these discussions, it tends to affect the business of the culture thriving and the culture reaching more, because, and I only mention that because I'm not saying, let's go easy on the comments, right? But for me, it's about unity, right? And these other movements that we're talking about is still, it's a movement.
I want it all to play.
Yeah, so all the Caribbean islands, we have over 20 million, what's the population in the Caribbean? Over 20 million, right? And
I think it's less than that, but yeah.
Yeah, including French Caribbean, everything.
Yeah, I think it's less than that, right? Because...
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. We could look it up.
We can look it up, yeah. We can look it up. But just saying, however much million are from the Caribbean, that's numbers. And I think that unity in numbers and strength in numbers. And I feel like that bouyon soca conversation, while I could respect the purest of this was created with a different intention or this was created from us, the bigger picture is we need to have a soca movement. And soca,
Or if it's not a soca movement,
yeah.
it's a Caribbean music
It's
movement.
a Caribbean music movement. And I think we could look at the product as soca. Soca as a genre, as everybody knows this is soca music, as a product has not successfully exported to the world. Soca has been placed all over the world. You can hear soca in a fashion show in Paris. You can hear soca in Zumba. You can hear soca or in a mall randomly in Dubai. But the person walking up and down is like, that is not. But dancehall and reggae get that a little more. They have their own issues too. So I just say like, it's already difficult to market soca as soca. So now that you have different, it just sounds like,
But their
bouyon
listener,
sounds like
the difference
soca.
is that their listener base is a lot higher.
Right.
Right? And so when we talk about 20 million people, in the big picture of things, that's a very small number.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, it is. It is.
In comparison to 1 billion or 2 billion in Africa.
And
on
correct.
the whole continent.
You could be
Right?
underground in
Listeners.
Africa and tour.
Of course.
Tour.
Right?
Like,
So my concern is only that I think that it's Denry segment.
Yeah.
It's Denry segment. Right?
Right.
I ain't saying that it's nothing other than that. It's bouyon. It's bouyon.
It's
And
bouyon.
I ain't saying nothing other than that. It's bouyon. It's bouyon. It's fine. It's not a problem with me. But if we're going to the world,
Right.
what are we going to the world as?
well, as you mentioned, then this segment, classic. First
Yeah, boy, classic is my
Classic
guy.
song dancer.
Yeah.
Now, I find this was not talked about enough during the carnival season, but he got signed, right? Like the song got signed, to a label in France.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal. That's a
Big
big
deal.
deal for Caribbean music. Let's
Yeah.
not categorize it. But then my question is, what is that song going to be marketed as or identified as in that market? I was curious about that, and I don't know, maybe Classic could give some feedback.
Well, we're gonna
on-
bring him back. Classic is my guy.
Yeah.
He say he
No,
coming back.
that's a dope song, and he's a
Yeah.
very talented artist. And that song was just special. Like I knew that song was gonna go somewhere, but it's interesting. But then now, what is that marketed as? And like I can mention Bouya. Outside of the Caribbean circles, there's some EDM producers I work with in France, and I saw one of these guys, my boy Shad, and he was playing on bouyon song. I was like, bro, bouyon popping in France. He's like, yeah.
That's a big deal.
And big up DJ Pun. DJ
Yeah.
Pun, right? DJ Pun as touring in France and to DJ. And yeah, he's champion in bouyon as well.
Yeah.
So bouyon kind of fuses is like, it has the energy of dancehall in terms of the youths like it, it new, it fresh, but it sounds like soca. I mean, if you tell me does bouyon sound like soca, I will tell you yes. Is bouyon and soca the same thing? I can't answer that. That is,
No.
But it sounds like, it sounds like, to me,
Listen,
bouyon kind
I-
of sounds like some 90s soca that I grew up on.
I worked on a record, and it just won Song of the Year.
All right.
In the Bahamas.
Okay, congrats, congrats,
I helped pen the record, and it's called Rake and Scrape.
Okay.
Right? That is a Bahamian style of music. They have
Like
they have
John Canoe?
Canoe,
Right.
and they have Rake and Scrape.
Right.
And they might have other things, but those are the two that I'm familiar with.
Right.
And this record is a Rake and Scrape record.
Right.
Right. And while we were in the studio, and I was lucky to be asked to come with Julian Believe and the team, and Zoe and the rest of the guys, and to me it felt like a soca. It felt like
Yeah.
it did feel like that to me, right?
Yeah.
But it's Rake and Scrape,
It's Rick and Scrape.
right? and so great. I just know that is Caribbean music and it's mine, right?
Right.
And bouyon is Caribbean music and it's mine, right? And I represent all of it, and I want it all to be able to be heard by the world to say, yeah, boy,
yeah.
we have something too. You know what I mean?
And I think for me, I go back to the movement point. Is just like one of the setbacks of soca or carnival-oriented music is there's no movement or machine like the other. Now these countries are bigger than our countries, so we can't. It might. But then Jamaica is maybe a better example of a country, island that we could compare to. Dancehall just has this movement, as in they have a marketing identity that just you could know like when they marketing anything dancehall in the BT Awards, you see the dancers come out and it's just it's certain imagery that represents dancehall. Soca, it's carnival costumes, right? But then with bouyon and denery, if it is we have to represent bouyon and denery, it's just a genuine question. People could answer it for me. And let's say the BT Awards wanted to have a denery or bouyon segment. What would the imagery be? Would it be carnival costumes as well, or would it be different?
I think that's a good question.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the answer is, right? But I think carnival and soca and bouyon and these things belong to us all.
Yeah. Is it?
I remember seeing, damn, what's his name? What's his John?
A rapper?
No, the Haitian
Wyclef?
Fugees, Wyclef.
Yeah.
Right? Doing a show at, I think it was BET Awards or something, and he brought out Caribbean culture. Right? And that was, and he's Haitian, but he brought the carnival costume, and then the dancehall artists came out, and right? I think that was something that was inclusive of us all. And a representation of us all.
And I've always felt like that. I've always felt like proud to be from the Caribbean. A Trini. Yes, I'm from Trinidad. But when I see a Jamaican win something, I'm happy. When I see somebody from Barbados, Dominica, any other island, I feel proud now. I've always felt like I'm a West Indian. And I think that energy is so powerful, and that pride, that West Indian pride, needs to be translated in the music industry too, in terms of our movement. And I just feel like, I might be wrong, but I just feel like that is what has been the setback. Dancehall has its own movement, but in the genres that's not dancehall, like we've still been trying to. I don't, maybe Zouk, you say like Zouk and Compa. Compa has its own movement, right?
For sure.
But like Zouk has its own movement.
For sure.
So Soca, Denery. So okay, question with bouyon. Molly, who's Shake It to the Max. This recent single is a bouyon song, right? There's an African artist. I'm trying to remember which artist it was. He just released a bouyon song. So if these songs cross over and bouyon is the new cool genre, how would the soca community feel?
I think the soca community should be proud.
Right.
Right, this is what I think.
Right. I think so too.
Because I would be proud.
One of us made it. It's like,
yes, one of us made it. And as much as like when Humpy was here and he was like, soca, and we was like, soca, right? I don't care what you call it.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
It resonates with me.
It represents us.
And it represents us.
Right.
Right? To me.
Right.
Right? And I really think that's what Humpy was trying to say.
Right.
I don't think it came out well or well received.
Right.
But I was really thinking, I really think he was really trying to say, yo, that is we thing too. And so you can call it what you want.
But it's representative of us.
It's representative of us. And we accept it and we appreciate it. We like it.
Yeah.
And let's go. You know what I'm saying?
And it's like a win for the Caribbean.
It's a win.
It's a win for the West. Yeah. And I think, that's the attitude. So to me, as I say, people can be purists. People are allowed to have their own opinions. And especially people who are part of the country that birthed or created things. We have our own opinions on steel pan as Trinis and stuff. But I feel like these conversations in the real business world of music don't matter.
Yeah.
But to us as persons from these islands who care and purists in many forms, it matters to us, and both could exist. But we need to respect the business side too.
But you know why it matters?
Yeah.
It matters because we don't have much.
Well,
right? We don't have, right? And so we want to hold on to what it is that we do have.
Yeah. Whenever you hear a soca song in anything, whenever you hear, I would say a soca song in anything mainstream, I think people just beam with pride.
Of course.
You feel like,
wow,
soca in a Malibu commercial,
right.
Soca in a K-Sharp song.
Right. In the iPhone commercial.
Yeah, you're like, you know? We
Nah, of
soca
course.
band make it, you know.
It's
So,
because we don't have much, and so the things that we do have,
Yeah.
we want it to succeed, and we take ownership of
passionate
it,
about
passionate
it,
about
boy.
it, right? And I could understand that,
Yeah.
you know. And I'm all I'm saying is that I think that for the most part, for most people in this discussion,
Yeah.
who might be trying to align on left or align on the right, they're really
Yeah.
saying that, yo, it's we thing, you know.
It's we thing, man.
Even dancehall, and if you ever live in like Colorado or Wyoming or Tennessee,
Right.
right, and you from Trinidad, right, and you bounce up at Jamaica,
Yeah.
right, in one of these places, you have just found your brother,
Of course.
right?
Yeah.
You have
no,
just found. It's like, yo, what, you Jamaican?
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Just
Right?
happy, just
Yeah,
happy.
just
to,
happy. You
Yeah.
dig?
You
And
feel
so
part of community, and I understand.
think I would like to see more of that. We spent a lot of time here. I want
Yeah.
to talk about industry.
Mm-hmm.
What it is that we need as artists need to do better, right? You have not publishing. You have a promotion company.
So
Right.
I have a content hub called Content Island.
Okay.
And honestly, that was created because I have been in so many studios in my life, in Trinidad especially, where people just throw away music. People throw away instrumentals. Big artists and taking no other artists want this. So what we said is, hey, well, you throw away instrumentals, somebody will want to license that. So we created a royalty-free platform where anybody who wants to license music for anything, you come on this platform, you swipe, you use your card, your PayPal, and you have the rights to use this for whatever you want. And the producers get paid for each time it's used and each sale, and it's just a simple business model. And it's for now instrumentals, because with vocalists it would have gotten a little more complicated. And so it's sound effects, instrumentals, videos, photos as well. And it's just things like that. Just as I go along, you know, like I get experience in publishing and licensing, and I get encouraged to bring my own vision of that to my hometown, because I want to see the industry develop. You know, I want to see, because I like my experience from Soca this year, all the money is in touring, all the money. Unless you get endorsement from a big company, but for the average soca artist, or if you're not a big soca artist, your money is shows.
Okay.
And when in other genres like EDM or hip hop, or in hip hop, there are young beat makers who they just make money off of beat stars. Like they're youths who like 18, 17 years old, and they buying cars and things off of selling beats. But like in Trinidad, it's like, you know, it's like if it is that you don't have gigs as an artist or as a producer, I mean, most young producers would not get beats sold. So I was just trying to create different income streams.
Bro, are you living off of your music?
Full time, no, but I'm able to. My income increases each year from music.
Okay.
So, but no, the answer is no. Like, I am a digital marketing consultant. I've been doing that for like 15 years. I do other things. I have several streams of income, but I now reach a point. I can say at least music is able to pay for music stuff and trips and invest in building my music brand and other things like that. You know, so it's starting to get there.
Because I think the conversation I want to have with you is, how do we get the artists in our genre
Right.
to eat properly through music outside of just
Tour.
if they get a show.
And that's the
right?
tricky
And
thing
it's
is that I
even
got lucky
like-
this year. I mean, I got a hit, right?
Yeah.
A soca hit is hard. I would not lie. And we could talk about what made that a hit, what myself and Mevon, how we went into it, etc. But for me, what works is the multiple streams of income. I'm blessed in a way where I'm able to curate my life where I could still be Miami here and doing this, you know, but still do my client work. Like I did my client work. I create my own day. I own my own time for the most, right? But that's something that I set up from real. I planned this a long time ago because I got into digital marketing. Is something I got into because it's the only thing I could do and be flexible time-wise, and I don't have to necessarily work physically, be somewhere, right? But I've made money from TV and film placements. I've made money from being a paid vocalist. I've made money from just so many things, from being an agent for a producer and an artist. I've made money from touring and getting shows. I've made money from translating, like literally ghostwriting for people who don't speak English. And I speak English, so the different streams of income, but you just have to keep grinding and keep grinding.
So I guess I'm asking like
Yeah, what are the different?
what I'm concerned about is I want artists to be able to know how to make money doing their craft, right? Whatever it may be. If you're not getting, because I had real artists who's put out music who don't perform.
Yeah,
Right?
and I think for a while, I have to say I was one of those, because I went from the 4 years when we had Trapso music, we were booked right through. But then when I started to dabble in EDM and those things, I didn't say I didn't perform, but in terms of paid performances, because let's have a real conversation there, it was a lot of sweat equity just getting into this world and trying to figure it out. Like, I was not paid for Lollapalooza. I was not paid. These are cool things to say, but, in terms of, but I was building and building and building and building. And it reached a point now, like with Zumba, I've presented myself in that world now where I am actually demanded to be, it's just I'm waiting on the paperwork to do it officially, right? Soca definitely this year, I got a lot of paid performances, but
So I want you to look in the camera
yeah,
and say to this guy who's watching,
right,
the young Soca artist,
right.
do A, B, and C, and you will generate some income.
For me, yeah, okay. So the streams of income as an artist, especially from the Caribbean, it starts with live. I think that most of the money are from live performances. The millionaires in the industry are from that mainly. There are also endorsements. Endorsement comes with popularity. So the amount of followers you have on social media and your impact and influence within the culture depends on somebody willing to pay you to rep the brand, right? But you never know. I always tell people, like, if you're from a community, like, you're from Belmont, and they have a community hardware in Belmont, and they might pay a little 500 TT to big up. There's smaller scale, and I think a lot of artists don't look at that, right? Okay. My experience with publishing and stuff, the stuff I've done with TV and film, I get quarterly checks. Not thing I could buy car and house off of, but stuff that it's definitely good. Like the income coming in that it adds up. It pays bills. It helps stuff, right? Zumba, being paid as an artist to do songs for Zumba, it adds up. That's good money, Anything else I've done, ghostwriting for people. People pay me to host events. I do my own events. Like there's so many different things I do. But then, aside from me being an artist, I'm also an agent, right? And that happened randomly. It's like I was doing stuff for TV and film, and the guy was like, "Yo, you know anybody else?" And I was like, "Well," right? And like Tej was doing that with me, right? I think Tej would be comfortable with me talking about that, but Tej was doing stuff for TV and film, and I was like an agent for him, right? In that world, and that was another form of source of income. So for me, I've always found these little hustles with them.
Big up Mikhail Teja.
He's a real one, bro.
Really trying to get him on. We've had a couple opportunities, but the timing.
Yeah,
we're definitely trying to get it.
And real smart, intelligent, hardworking. Like, he deserves his success. He's a good one. And and even him, he was smart in how he looked at his different streams of income. Songwriter, producer, artist. So that means you're getting paid to write the song, you're getting paid for the production, and you're an artist, and you're getting paid to perform as an artist. Plus, he's not getting endorsements. Plus, he turned his own show. I performed at his show this year.
Yeah.
So proud of him, So you just have to look for different sources of income. And it's a gamble because nobody know what's going to be a hit. Every artist think the song is a hit when they record it, right? And I mean, even myself and Mevon with Love on the Road, we knew it would have done well, as in we knew it would have played on the radio and been in the, but in terms of how popular it was, no, we had no idea. So you really, that's one of the most humbling things as a creative. You don't know. It's have real people who think the song is the biggest song for Carnival. Big artists.
Yeah.
And nothing.
Yeah.
And I saw that this year. It's really interesting. It's like, I was able to get a lot of gigs this year, and I saw people who I know have bigger catalogs than me not get booked. And I think that's the crazy thing about soca. Soca is really like a sport. And how Marshall say you're only as good as your last performance. Soca is that. No.
You're only as good as your last performance.
No, there's a uniqueness in that I've learned to appreciate, that this is our industry. But compared to other industries, like, all right, like you look at hip hop, the 90s and 80s hip hop men could still talk and women could still tour the world singing their catalog. But the soca artists who were great from the 90s, talking about you have mega hits. There's no circuit for you to tour old catalog. You're touring your last year or 2 year catalog max. And that is, I've learned, is unique, but it's a double-edged sword now, in a way. And I saw it a lot this year. And I saw some of the artists I look up to and grew up looking up to look defeated, bro. And it's like, that's a weird thing to see, because in other genres too, where you see, like, you gotta big up Mad Stunt Man, right? Like, Mad Stunt Man is still significantly touring off. I like to move it.
Mm-hmm.
And that don't happen in soca.
Yeah, I toured with him.
Yeah, and since we toured with him, right?
Yeah.
So, it's just, you know, it's there are a lot of things about the industry I respect and appreciate and enjoy this season, but then there are also things I'm like, yo, we need a little change in the industry, because so I would tell youths, look beyond Trinidad, look beyond the island, look beyond the whole world out there. I have some people in Albania. I've never been to Albania.
Yeah.
You know, like, how?
Yeah.
That's DMing people, networking, and, you know, like, those things translate into income, because you have your business, like, besides your local PRO, join BMI, join ASCAP, join whichever one, right? PRS, and those, it all adds up.
Mm-hmm.
So anybody I link with in the industry, they all just be working on stuff.
Can you, this is just information purposes, can you be a member of CUT and a member of BMI?
I am a member of CUT and I'm a member of BMI.
Okay.
And yeah, it's called dual membership.
Okay.
It's a bit of a process, but yeah, you so, like, how Love on the Road is, I performed it so much in Trinidad, it's registered with CUT, you know, first. But my international songs are registered with the BMI first, you know. So you just kind of have to understand how to work the system for those things. And CUT is what we have. Yeah, big up CUT. At the end of the day, people can say what they want, but that's what we have. So we had to work and try to figure out how to let the system work for you. Yeah.
I have two more questions.
Sure. Yeah.
Right. I want to talk about your influence.
Right.
Right. So it's more like a quiz.
Right.
All right. Godfather Asylum or Three Sons?
Three Sons.
Okay.
Yeah. Three Sons, hands down.
Three
like,
Sons or Kiss Kitty Caravan?
Three Sons.
All right. Three Sons or Ghetto Flex?
Oof. I think they voted. That's a good one, boy. I would say equally in terms of I mean, like, yeah, they both influenced me highly, and I don't know if you know, but we actually sampled a Ghetto Flex song. You know the song Denise and Ghetto. We sampled it, and we had a song called Mood.
Okay.
Right, and that sounded really well in Trinidad.
All right.
Yeah.
So Three Sons, Ghetto Flex, KMC.
I would say all of them, because KMC really influenced me in terms of the EDM crossover stuff. He don't get the props for it, but he, to me, was one of the pioneers of that. You know, like Mad Stuntman, Denise Belfon, and KMC. I think they were the first to really.
So this is the first that we have, like, three going. This
Yeah.
is really one or the other.
Yeah,
right?
right.
So Ghetto Flex, Three Sons, KMC, Maximus Dan.
MX Prime, I would say, as somebody, he has been like a big brother to me in the industry. And I think it was cool, like I was telling you earlier, that Maximus, MX Prime, and myself opened for Steve Aoki in Club Story, right?
Okay.
And like those are just crazy things like that. Two artists from Trinidad, like one more upcoming, one more established, opening for Steve Aoki, you know, like, so stories like that, I think, and having good conversations with MX, he's always been encouraging.
Yeah.
Even this season, you'd see more, like, we had gigs in the same place, and he's one of those who'd be like, yo, keep doing it. I love what you're doing. Just let it go on, you know? So I had to big him up there. In terms of influence, though, I would still say, like, Treason's my biggest influence.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I knew, and maybe I didn't know, but
Yeah.
I assumed that Three Sons would be the winner
Yeah,
in this
yeah.
conversation.
Now, for sure, in terms of the only reason I started to do music, because I heard Only Promenade, and you wrote dun, 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 and I was like, yo, what's that? And that is when I decided, like, I want to do that.
I posted, I don't know, a couple of days ago, and I
Yeah.
was saying, I said we need a Treasons reunion or something like
Something,
you know,
something,
and the
yeah.
amount of comments that we got on Facebook about that was kind of like people were like,
It's
yes,
insane,
boy,
and
please.
their stories. I know the behind the scenes of their stories because I'm really good with their main producer and manager. But that's their story to tell. But they had some crazy opportunities to cross over internationally, and there were times where when the soca artists were touring in the diaspora soca festivals, they were going to like reggae festivals, like they were like being booked for some things
No,
in
they were
Europe
huge.
that. I think it's just, everything happens for a reason. And there are a lot of examples in Trinidad of people who maybe before their time. And they may have been an example of, but they influenced so many people, including Kishav, including, I'm sure yourself, myself, Olatunji, Hey Choppy. Like, we all influenced by Treason.
By Treasons.
And M1 still pumping.
Mad.
M1 still pumping.
Bro, we're doing. We have two segments, and,
Right.
and one of the newer part of the segments is to pose a question from our last guest
Right.
to the new guest. Now
Right.
they don't know who the guest is,
Right.
but we asked them to ask a question.
Right.
And the question is, if you had to see yourself in 10 years, who would you be?
If I had to see myself in 10 years, you see people like, I can't even mention, wait to mention Diddy again. But
Pause.
people like Russell Simmons, can't even mention him again, right?
Pause.
But the people I look up to, I can't mention again. But the moguls in the industry, I always looked up to those guys who took culture and music and really took it to a whole different level of business. I'm a fan of like entrepreneurship as well. And it's something that I just have this artist chapter to really like, I need to do this. This is the 15-year-old brave boy. This is the 15-year-old brave boy dream that I live in right now. But once this this chapter is completed, I would like to focus more on building the industry and opening doors on a whole different level. And you see, like the bridge between corporate and creative. I think I'm a great person for that. And I want to see everybody making money, bro. I want to
Yeah.
see more millionaires in the Caribbean music industry, especially from Trini. Like, I want to see of all genres of, like, our music is out there. People love us.
Word.
Time to be paid for our,
Work.
like what they love about us. And
for
So
sure.
it's just, I think I see myself being a mogul in many different, like ways. Not just in music. I love fashion. Because I would love to do a lot of documentaries. I would love to do a documentary on Bungie, on KMC, like these guys' stories. I don't know their life story.
I
Like,
thought it
what
was
they-
just me. Like I think
Yeah.
about that every day.
Yeah, like that's-
there's so many stories to be told.
There's-
and like who's gonna tell these stories? And
Yeah.
I'm like I want to tell the story, but we could
No, we could team
do
up.
something.
And then I don't know if you saw Marshall's documentary recently.
I didn't see it.
It was amazing. Like,
Yeah.
it's not even that the production was so amazing. And you're like, wow, but just somebody telling Marshall's story and you see the vulnerability of Marshall Montano. It was amazing to me to see, like, it kind of humanized him, kind of showed that he spoke about when he was ready to give up. And I don't think anybody would think Marshall was ready to give up.
Yeah.
And that he had suicidal thoughts and that kind of stuff. But yeah, I just curious. I mean, these are people I just casually know from the industry, but Bungie story is one I would love to know. KMC, I watched podcasts with him and he held a piece of it, but a lot of these guys, man, rest in peace, Ghetto Flex. He was the next one who did amazing things. And even I would say on the business side, like the Chinese Laundry or the Cliff Harris, or there's certain people who like the moguls in the industry. I want to
Sure.
know the Signal to Noise. A lot of people, I don't know if you know Signal.
Yeah.
He's the owner, one new as a slam. And yeah, Signal story is interesting too. Like,
Yeah.
so
For
yeah,
sure.
I want to tell, and then Calypso too. Also just a background. My father's a television producer.
I understand he used to sing Kaiso too.
I used to think I saw
Yeah.
right? So it's almost like my dad has a bunch of footage from like that period.
Yeah.
So I have all that to it. So I want to turn those into documentaries to honor.
I think we need to, you, me, and Kishav need to come together.
Yeah.
And do some type of documentary
Oh,
series.
for sure, for sure,
where
for
we
sure.
we can tell a story.
Yeah,
that
no,
needs
because
to
these
be
stories
told.
need to be told. And
Yeah.
I mean, there's certain things. I'm mad stunt man.
For sure.
There's a reel-to-reel documentary.
Yeah.
I
I saw
watched it.
it.
Yeah, I watched it, and that we need more stories. We have so many good Denise Belfort. Like, I would like to know her full journey with the song "Work." and the trials and
What
tribulations.
you back in it?
And this is she doing a tour now, right?
I saw.
I
It
was
came
so
across my
proud to
feed.
see that.
Yeah.
So proud to see that.
Yeah, I was saying I need to reach out to her to see if she's coming to Miami and if
Yeah,
if I
she
can
was. She
help.
cool. She would definitely do it. She'll definitely do it.
Bro.
Yeah.
So I asked a question.
Right.
Do you have a question for my next guest?
If you could change 2 things about the industry, what would those 2 things be?
If you could change 2 things about the industry, what would those 2 things be? All right.
Because I give them a little. They want to choose one. I
Yeah.
give them a little.
Brave boy.
Yes, my brother.
We have a segment, right? So we went through one segment. The next segment is called Bring Your Headphones. Bring the headphones. And so if I call for the headphones,
Right.
would you oblige us and give us a little piece of something? Maybe your new hit.
Yes, Love on the Road.
You know, just a small performance.
Of course.
Man, so bring the headphones.
Bring the headphones.
Bring the headphones.
Yo, this is Brave Boy. What they do, Sizwe C.
I could send 1,000 letters addressed to you, and I could send 1,000 emails just to get through, and I could call 1,000 times till I don't know what to do, just to tell you, Carnival, that I'm missing you.
Miami.
Baby, I miss you every day.
Swear.
Feel like I can't see my way.
Swear.
And I don't know what to say.
Swear.
But at the end of the day, I know what's how to play. Give me a chance to wine on you, so I could win with you, and I could jam with you. Give me another chance so I could jam on you, so I could jump with you, so I could wine with you, so we could fall in love on the road. Run. Give me a chance now, just give me a chance now, to fall in love on the road. Give me a chance now, just give me a chance now. Girl, it have plenty of distractions, but you're the main attraction. You give me satisfaction, girl. Now it's time for action. Plenty of distractions, but you're the main attraction. You give me satisfaction. Now it's time for action. When you hear the mouse calling, beat me on the road, darling. When you hear the mouse calling, beat me Carnival, darling. When you hear the mouse calling, beat me on the road, darling. When you hear the mouse calling, beat me on the road. Give me a chance to wine on you, so I could win with you, and I could jam with you. Give me another chance so I could jam on you, so I could jump with you, so I could wine with you,
so we could fall in love on the road.
Give me a chance now, just give me a chance now, to fall in love on the road.
Run.
Give me a chance now, just give me a chance now. I hope you miss
We gonna
me.
tell you what they
Miss
do.
me like I'm
Podcast.
missing you.
Into the Soca drum right
Cause I could book a
now. We bring
flight
Trinidad and Tobago Carnival vibes to Miami. Miami crew.
I could think of 1,000 reasons
Hey, to come home to you. Hope you if you love Soca, bouyon, baby, I miss you every day. Jump, you know I can't see me. Where?
and I don't know what to say, no. But at the end of the day, I know what's how to play. Give me a chance to wine on you, so I could win with you, and I could jam with you.
VIP.
Give me another chance so I could jam with you,
VIP, I
so
find
I
all
could
this
jump
touch.
with you,
Wanna
so I
come to
could
the
wine
front.
with you, so we could fall in love on the road. Give me a chance now, just give me a chance now, to fall in love on the road. Give me a chance now, just give me a chance now.
This is Brave Boy, representing for What They Do podcast. Big up my brethren, Sizwe C, representing Trinidad and Tobago to the world. Rah!
Yo, mad performance, Brave boy.
Yes, my brother.
Yo, I appreciate you, man.
One love, one love.
I'm proud of you, and what I'm saying, and I'm proud of you, is I'm proud of the work that you've put in, right? Exploring and showing people that you don't necessarily have to stay in one box, right? Understanding that, yeah, you come from Trinidad, and your foundation might be a certain thing, and you've gone and explored other things, and still come back and done big things in the foundation, which is Soca, with your mega hit this year. I wanted to ask you, and maybe that's for another conversation, is how did it feel to be competing, right, in the same conversation for Road March with Marsha Montano, Voice, Bungie Garlin, Brave Boy.
Honestly, it was surreal to me.
Yeah.
Just because never in my wildest dream. I always knew I'd release a Soca song at some point.
Yeah.
But like to be in a road march conversation. And even though, yes, you saw the numbers and with the calculations, they didn't have my songs playing, but people were rooting for me.
For sure.
Properly. People I've never met. Not just, your friends who are your back no matter what. I have so many strangers who have personally messaged me on Instagram, Facebook, get my number somehow.
Yeah.
Let's just say, listen, your song is my favorite song for the season.
Well,
I think you should have won road match.
You are evidence that hard work does pay off. Stick to itness, the ability to do what you say you're going to do, and to do what you want to do, regardless of what the naysayers might say. I think is something that people need to see and appreciate. And so I just want to let you know that I appreciate you. We appreciate you and what it is that you've been able to do.
And I appreciate you all too, because, as I say, I'm a fan of the podcast, and this is for the culture, and, so people are watching, young artists, and, artists are going through so much in their head. Sometimes watching these conversations, feel like it's not just me.
Yeah.
It's other people going through the same thing.
For sure.
And I always say, don't let age be a thing too, because as I say, I'm 40, I can tell my age, right? And it's like, I got my first soca hit at 40. Anything, anything possible. Calypso Rose perform at Coachella at 60-something or 70-something.
I'm 46 next month.
Yeah.
And you think I'll get a hit soon or no?
Nah, you might get 10. You might win road match next year. No, but it's one of those things. And I had to big up Mevon, because yes, I think that my talent was in the right place this year to deliver this, but I couldn't do this without Mevon, and Mev really is a genius. His dedication as a producer, his love for the culture and for soca music is amazing. He's our boss. And I think I'm excited. People asking what's the follow-up, right? And I'm not worried. I think me and Mevon have that understanding and chemistry with each other as brothers that, he knows me so well. Yeah. I think we could have a producer who knows you so well, knows what you would want to do, what you would not want to do, and respect you too, in terms of, your feedback and stuff. So, man. And big up Joel, sorry. A lot of people don't know this song was co-produced by a Venezuelan producer.
Right. Yeah.
Because
and you've never met him.
I never met Joel. That's the crazy thing. I feel like I know him.
Right.
So big up, I have a Venezuelan producer making soca.
Yeah.
That is some wild world.
Yeah, well, the Venice reaching Trinidad.
Listen. Pick up Joel every time.
Mad. All right, so producers saying we had to cut batteries low, memory low. This was a good one. Listen, I want you to do me a favor and subscribe, right? We had Brave Boy here today, and we absolutely appreciate you, bro. Thank you again for joining us on the platform.
Yeah, no, this was fun. It's an honor.
And man, so I'll see you next time. Once again, it's your friend Sizwe, and this is what they do.
Boom.
Mad.